It's not something new. The 12 powers have been, and if you are aware of like what the chakras are, and there's the ones that we usually start like at the crown and go down, but there's also some above that, that are kind of in the ethers.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Noah. My name is Scott Love, and I'm joined today with Reverend Gail. And today's kind of a unique episode because normally we talk a little bit about what was talked about last week. But last week, Gail was not giving the service at the church. It was Nancy. And so today we're going to be talking about something that I'm really curious about. And I just kind of sprung it on Gail, and she said agreed to it. And we're going to be talking about the 12 powers, and we're going to be talking about a really cool activity thing they have going on here, and it's a book study, and we're going to talk a little bit about the book they're studying and how to get involved with that. How you doing today, Gail?
I am great. How are you, Scott?
I'm doing marvelous. I just had some changes going on at home and just trying to adjust to it and make space.
Life is that way.
Yeah. When groups come together, they usually go through three stages. At least this is what I was taught. One of them is the forming stage, and that's also known the honeymoon period. Then there's the storming stage, where boundaries get pushed and we find out what we can and can't get away with. And then there's the norming stage, where everything kind of gets into syncopation and a rhythm. And my job in the past, I was a group dynamics team leadership training coordinator. It's a mouthful, but it's really just I run people through initiatives and we talk about it and figure out the different roles that people play in leadership.
And I go back to the order, disorder, and reorder, which is really the same concept almost. We feel like life's pretty orderly, and then all of a sudden something happens, like somebody new moves in, and there's complete disorder, or just moving itself, and there's a complete disorder. And then gradually it moves into a reorder, but it's a new order. It's not, you don't try to get back to that's where I think we really have a challenge, is we trying to get back to the original order, and that's never going to happen. We create a new order. So your Foreman, Storman, and Norman is doing that. You'll get that norm, and then it'll change again.
Right.
So it's awesome. But congratulations on your new house.
Thank you so much. It's been fun, learning all the secret passageways, and we found that there's a tunnel that leads to the river.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, completely.
You had me. I'm like, it's a ranch house in Bay City. Wait a minute.
with a crawl space under the house. Yeah.
Okay. I read a lot of murder mysteries, so I was buying it.
Right. I think I don't like watching those, but I have been, because I find like the more I put that stuff in here, the more I'm like, what's that person doing? It's shady. All they're doing is walking their dog.
Yeah.
Why are they looking around like that? Very good. Excellent. So today we're talking about the 12 powers. And what I know about the 12 powers is what you share during the service or in conversation. I've always been really curious. So I was wondering if you could touch upon that a little bit and let people know what that's all about and how they can maybe use them to improve their lives.
I would be most happy to. And it's not something new. If you are aware of like what the chakras are, and there's the ones that we usually start like at the crown and go down, but there's also some above that, that are kind of in the ethers. So there's like 12, I think. Well, the 12 powers are like that. There's an energy center in throughout our body that coincides with each of these powers. And so it's not something that you can go in and do surgery on, right? These are energy, and we are all about energy. That's what we're made of. That's what we come into, and what we leave with is energy. And the 12 powers were, I guess, discovered or uncovered well before Charles Fillmore. He was a co-founder of Unity. He and his wife Myrtle. He was quite a researcher, and he found from one of his teachers, and this was in the early 1800s, about the 12 powers. And so he wrote a book about them. And of course, then they've been modernized into language of today. But it really is empowering. You can call up your 12 powers, you can, and so I'll go through them a little bit. this quote, I think, starts it well, kind of the power of the power. We don't realize how powerful we are. And we can use our powers for good and not, right? So we're seeing that a lot in this country right now. They have the power that they're bending to their will, and it's all out of integrity from what we know as the truth of our being. But so that's the cautionary tale here, is that our affirmations and our thoughts become things. It can go either way. The universe says yes, because we were born with full choice. And when we say something very negative about our own self or others, it's putting a different energy in. And so when we can focus on, and I always told my kids growing up, use your powers for good. And and I think that's held pretty well for them. But here's a quote about the 12 powers. To all who are brave enough to claim their 12 powers and use them to master the art of living as they walk the spiritual path on practical feet. And that's another thing that I love about unity and new thought, like science of mind, all of those, is that it's practical. It's practical things. We don't have to sit on the mountaintop for hours and days to be enlightened. It comes in a flash, and our lives now are too busy to think, oh, I haven't done my meditation yet today. Oh, Josh, I only have 10 minutes. Well, good. You have 10 minutes, you can sit and get centered. Yay.
You mentioned that Charles Fillmore rediscovered them or found them. Do you know what the source of them is?
I really don't. I've tried. I know Emma Curtis Hopkins, she was considered the teacher of teachers of
Okay.
the New Thought movement, metaphysical movement. And I hadn't gotten any because I found it in her book and she didn't have any references to it. So that's as far as I've gotten.
You mentioned the chakras.
Mm-hmm.
I have to look it up.
Yeah. Ministers who created this book, The Power Up Your Life is the name of it, and it's Reverend Paul Hasselbeck, Cher Holden, and Bill Holden. They wrote this together, and it's quite an undertaking. It's really a great book because it's a workbook or reference book, I guess maybe is a better way to say it. So, you want to know what the 12 powers are?
I do.
All right. The first one is faith, and then we go to strength and love, imagination, power, understanding, wisdom, will, order, release, zeal, and life.
Zeal.
Zeal. That's
Okay.
one of my favorite ones. And there's colors that are associated with each of them.
Okay.
Faith is blue, zeal is orange. It's just one of those zesty,
Right.
Life actually is red. And because there's, again, the systems of the body, and release is elimination,
Okay.
which is that part of the body.
Right.
So there's a color and a part of the body associated with each of these that helps it. It's a little easier to associate, especially if you're a very visual person.
Very good. So, and then in this book, there is a section for each one of them.
Yes, we go through now in the book study that we're doing. I've cut it into 4 classes of 3 powers each. And it's hard to get through because it's so rich. This
Right.
material is so rich, but that's why it's a book study, because you can take it home and you can mull it over. And if we go longer than 4 weeks, then we do. And we're about an hour and a half to 2 hours in person here at noon on Tuesdays. And we have a Zoom class that's offered on the same day in the evening.
Is there a course going on right now?
Yes. Yeah. We're I think we'll be in the 3rd week.
Okay. And then how often do you bring it up again? Once a year or every few months?
Once or twice a year, depending on what the interest is. Or people are like, can we do another one of those?
Right.
Because it's a lot of material. But like I said, that's one thing that I love about this book. And you can also get this book on Kindle. A lot of times I'll get a Kindle book, but then I get the hard copy too because I like to hold it. And
So what I want to do is really quickly make a reference to anybody that's listening. We talk a lot about the different workshops and activities that are going on here at Quest Unity. And so the best way to find out when those are happening, go to questunity.com and sign up for the newsletter. And then once a month, you'll receive, or once a week rather, you'll receive a newsletter talking about the different activities. And people are excited about it.
Well, when we talk about the 12 powers, it's not like they're sitting dormant, just like the chakra system and just like all the other things innate within us that you don't really see, but they're always working to help us focus our mind and our heart on what it is we're trying to manifest, on the kind of life we want to lead, all those things. We have all of these aids. And like I said, they can work in either direction. Power can become ugly
Right.
when somebody's wielding power in a way that isn't for the highest good of themselves or the planet. And like I said earlier, we're seeing that a lot right now, and it's hard. But what we can do to counteract that is to use our powers for good, to use our thinking, to use our prayer, to use our affirmations, to see and know this world as a better place, that it is for whatever's going on the other side of that. It's the darkness before the dawn
Right.
kind of thing. So the 12 powers is, like I said, they're always working. And this is a guide really to encourage you to make conscious choices about how and when you use your 12 powers rather than simply allowing them to function at a default setting. We're really good at default, aren't we, as
Yeah.
humans?
So you use them as like to like fine tune.
Yeah.
And how do you identify which of the 12 powers you should be tapping into at any specific time?
I think it's pretty intuitive. If you're feeling like powerless, or if you're feeling have some confusion, or you're just trying to make a decision, sometimes, like if you have a book like this, you can go and say, what's the power of strength? What
Right.
does that mean? What kind of strength is that? Does it mean I'm strong and I can pick this up? Or, it's your strength of your mind power. The power of our mind is what really all of this is, mind and heart, right? So it encourages you to be able to discern which one. And so then what? What do you do with it, right? You got, oh, I think the power of strength is not really serving me right now. How can I increase the power of my strength? And of course, for a bodybuilder, they know exactly what to do,
Right.
right? But for a mind builder, if you're trying to build up the strength and like a new, let's say you're looking for a new habit that you want to override some old habit that's not serving you, the strength and the endurance that you need for that, you turn to that power. It's just about really prayer, affirmative prayer, where you say, I am strong. I have the strength to do this. So it's not like so much you have to pinpoint where it is in your body or any of that stuff. Just know that these are operating. And so you're going to strengthen your power of strength by focusing attention on that and about what it is you need strength for. And so I am, and you claim it.
Yeah.
Claim it. I have the strength I need to conquer this addiction. I have the strength I need to create this new habit. Those kinds of things. Like my one of my favorites is Zeal, because I can get excited about something if I'm feeling kind of dull and like boring things are happening. I'm like, Charles Fillmore, when he was 94 years old, said this: I fairly sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm as I spring forth with a mighty faith to do the things that ought to be done by me. So Zeal is, I had a little car, Subaru, a few years ago, and guess what the color was? Orange, the color of Zeal. I felt so great driving my little Subaru, and the main thing I loved about it was I could always find it in a parking lot. That's the gist of it. Just like the chakra system, really. It's like you focus on, and again, and I teach this often, little and often is the phrase I use. Once you find a reference like the 12 powers that you can kind of zero in on to help you get centered as you are trying to fix something in your life or enhance something in your life or change something. Some folks say, well, I don't pray. I don't know how to pray. I don't know how to meditate. How many times have I on Sunday morning? I'm like, don't worry. You're not going to do this wrong. You can't do it wrong.
There is no wrong.
Meditation doesn't mean that you are, meditation doesn't mean that you have to sit cross-legged and have some kind of special magical potion. It's just about trying to get centered, get the mind, you're not going to stop the mind. Thoughts are strings, and and they're constantly going, streams of consciousness, but you can pay attention to them, and you can say, wow, what am I thinking that over and over and over again, and choose another phrase and inch that one out. And that's where your powers come in, and you go, oh, like strength, like love. Love is the absolute crowning glory of it all. And we humans tangle up love with hearts and flowers when it is so much more than that. Actually, it's got nothing to do with hearts and flowers because that can be manipulative, right? So we're not talking about manipulative love. We're talking about that power and energy that we came from and that we will go back to. What else do you want to know about 12 powers, Scott?
Let's go back and read what they are again in the order.
Okay. We'll get something posted on our website which shows the places of the body where they are.
Very good.
But so faith and strength, love, imagination, power, understanding, wisdom, will, order, release, zeal, and life. Anything jump out at you there, Scott?
Well, they all do. I'm really attracted to release at this moment. Release, what does release mean? But it's like I get the visual of, like if you let something go, you have room to grab a hold of something else.
Yeah. If you grab on too tight, it stays static, really. And if you let go and allow the flow, which would be to release that thing that you're grabbing on in your consciousness, in your mind. Oh, feel like you have to grasp it and hold it, but in your heart of hearts you need to release it. And then it'll have a flow. There'll be a way for that then to be resolved.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, let's switch gears a little bit. Okay. We just had this really cool Unity experience.
Yes, we
Saturday.
did.
That was full house. It was very good.
Yes, it was. We had all of 60 chairs filled, and that was our max for there at those round tables. It was delightful. So much work went into that, and it was a beautiful thing to watch how easy it looked as the servers were coming around with the tiered plates and everything, and just it was lovely.
Yeah, I didn't come in until I volunteered at the last minute. I didn't come in until later, but what I noticed is that how many people were laughing and smiling and just chit-chatting, which is really the heart of community, right?
True.
Using our words and our hearts to connect with each other.
Yeah. Okay. And a little bit of tea never hurts.
A little bit of tea. That's what's up. Are there plans to have another one anytime soon? Or are they once a year, or how's that going to go?
It generally something that big that takes that many folks and that much time, we do every other year.
Okay.
Now, it's not to say if we get a lot of folks saying, oh, we're going to have a tea this year, then we might be able to pull that together next year. So we'll see.
Right. And once again, if you listener, if you are interested in all these cool things we're talking about, and we're just really talking about the tip of the iceberg, because there's people that rent various rooms and run open activities, or if you're even interested in finding out if you can rent some of the space to use for an activity or a group you have, get in touch with them at questunity.com. Very good. Well, thank you so much, Gail.
You're welcome, Scott.
I appreciate you. And we have a silent observer in the room today, and that is Tammy. Tammy is learning to use the podcast equipment and participate in future recordings, and we're excited about that. So I want to say hi to everyone.
Hi, everyone.
How clever you are.
I'm like, well, thank you everybody for listening. And if you could just take a second to like and subscribe to this podcast, whether you're watching it on YouTube or listening to it through a podcast device, um, just give us a like. It goes a long way. And you can subscribe to Quest Unity. Once again, we keep bringing it up at questunity.com. There's a place where you can sign up for the newsletter and find out all the cool things that are happening. All right. Thank you so much. And until next time, bless. Bye.